A group of House conservatives are demanding that the Oversight and Judiciary committees speed up their investigation of FBI and Justice Department corruption and bias during the 2016 elections. The lawmakers are alarmed that Chairman Trey Gowdy and Bob Goodlatte have interviewed only 2 of the 20 witnesses, that the chairman themselves identified as persons of interest back in October. My next guest says the slow pace of the investigation is unnecessarily putting the country through turmoil and further dividing us as a nation. Joining us tonight, Congressman Matt Gaetz. He serves on a number of key committees that include Judiciary, Budget, and Armed Services. Congressman, great to see you. Thanks for being here. 2 out of 20 witnesses? I mean, this is the definition of a slow walk.
That's right, Lou. And let's remember, there is no special counsel appointed to evaluate the collusion between the Hillary Clinton campaign, the Democratic National Committee, and Russia. So the only people currently charged with investigating that foreign influence in our 2016 election is the task force assembled between the Judiciary Committee and the Oversight Committee. Unfortunately, as you said, that task force has only interviewed 2 witnesses in 2.5 months. So at this pace, we'll never get to the truth. We'll never find out. Meanwhile, we've got an attorney general who refuses to appoint a second special counsel to look into the extent to which the Clinton Foundation functioned as a bribe-taking organization so that the State Department would be influenced for the benefit of Russians. So we've got to pick up the pace, Lou. The American people are demanding it.
You know, pick up the pace. We're talking about a special counsel. It's now over 10 months, and its investigation has done nothing, has found absolutely nothing to do with collusion. The Senate Judiciary Committee, the Senate Intelligence Committee, has acknowledged they have found not even a shred of evidence of collusion of any kind. It is preposterous what the American people are putting up with, and these committees, which apparently want to perpetuate themselves because they get some sort of extra publicity in a midterm election year. I mean, this is absolutely disgusting and appalling.
Well, and Lou, the American people lived through the Benghazi experience where everybody in Washington huffed and puffed, but then no one was held accountable. I fear if we don't
chaired by Trey Gowdy, we should point out.
Well, I think that we are at risk of never having the Clintons held accountable if we don't have a grand jury impaneled to charge them with the crimes that have been committed. I believe that the entire Russia collusion narrative was made up with the help of the mainstream media for 2 reasons. One, to distract President Trump from the important work that we've got to do to save this country from the last 8 years. And second, to cover up the fact that the Clinton campaign, the Clinton Foundation, all had interactions with Russian individuals who wanted outcomes from the State Department, and they then went and paid the Clinton Foundations and got the outcomes they wanted from the State Department, particularly as it related to the Uranium One matter. So this whole matter is being unraveled before our very eyes. The problem is, if we don't pick up the pace as the Congress, and if we don't have Jeff Sessions appoint a second special counsel, it'll be just like Benghazi. No one will go to jail, and the American people will not trust us, and we will have earned that lack of trust.
Well, let's be, fulsome in our review here. It'll be just like Benghazi. It'll be just like the IRS work on conservative groups. It'll be just, I mean, the list goes on. The Justice Department it seems like the FBI is involved in every unsolved case in this country. What happened? Where are we with the Las Vegas shooting? The worst massacre in this country's history. It just goes on, and there's no accountability. There's no one been fired from the Justice Department. No one, they demote people to the HR department where they can go hire more people like themselves. I mean, this is madness, what we're witnessing in our government.
Yeah, I mean, think of the logic of that, what you just said. After Peter Strzok was having an affair with a coworker, he got moved to HR. That would be like putting me in charge of the Capital Nutrition Program, for goodness sakes. I mean, it is a total lack of accountability and oversight. But we have in our Constitution the obligation as a Congress to provide that oversight. It doesn't matter if it's a Republican or Democrat administration. We have to exercise our oversight responsibilities. And so we need to interview Pete Strzok. We need to interview Lisa Page. The 2 people we we interviewed, by the way, Lou, they are no longer, I mean, they announced that they were leaving the federal government very soon after they gave their interviews. So the batting average is pretty high, but the pace is very slow. And that's why I think we've got to get in gear, do our job, earn our paycheck, and let's start interviewing witnesses and getting the truth before a special counsel and a grand jury that can bring charges for the crimes of the Clinton Foundation and the prior administration.
There seems to be only one conclusion in all of this, Congressman. Speaker Ryan doesn't want answers. He doesn't want to get to the truth because those chairmen wouldn't be slow walking this investigation unless they had his permission to do so, unless he had not in any way said, let's get a move on.
Well, you and I may disagree somewhat on Speaker Ryan. I know that when the FBI and Department of Justice were trying to give us none of the text messages, when they were trying to totally ignore the requests of Congress, Paul Ryan stood with us and he demanded the production of that evidence. And so I'm grateful for that. But of course, we could use the Speaker's help in speeding along the investigation, getting answers, and then restoring a sense that the rule of law matters in the United States of America, because too many Americans have lost trust and confidence as a result of the politicization of the highest levels of our government.
And I think we should point out the only reason Americans have done so is because they're paying attention. And Congressman Matt Gaetz, you and Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan, and others are making it clear what we need to do, and we appreciate it, as always.
Thank you, Lou.